Alright. Here we go. The goods live hard, sell hard. Now, this movie. Let me tell you. When this movie came out, I will admit, I was only drawn to this because Jeremy Piven and... can't find the name. Ken Jeong showed up on Monday Night Raw. Jeremy Piven was the guest host for one of the Monday Night Raws back in 2009. He's like one of the first hosts. But, and I was like, who's Jeremy Piven? How's he a celebrity guest host? I didn't know who he was. I didn't watch Entourage at the time. I do now, and I sure as fuck know who he is. But, yeah, so I'm like, okay, if WWE is, promoting this, it should be that. So I actually went to the theater to see this one. And, so, yeah, I'm not sure what this is not the unrated version, okay. This is just R-rated. So, that was unrated. No. So, the story is that Selick Motors, owned by Henry Selick, played by James Brolin, I almost said Josh Brolin, played by James Brolin, is going to go under unless they sell these cars. These sell cars and make the money back. There is another car lot owner, played by Alan Thicke, who wants to purchase this car lot. So his son, Paxton, played by Ed Helms, can practice with his boy band there because there will be more room. So he hires Don the Goods Ready, played by Jeremy Piven, and his crew, Jibby, played by Ving Rhames, Babs, played by Catherine Hahn, and I'm gonna call him Dennis again. It's not Dennis. I don't remember his name. He's played by Brent, played by Debbie Keckner. And they come in, and basically, Don Reddy is the type of guy, if you want something sold, if you want some cars sold, you do it. He tells a story about when he was a kid. He traded in his stupid little trike thing stupid little broken-ass tricycle or whatever for a nice bike. And that's how it started. These guys, they have a tradition. They stay at the same place everywhere they go, the Hacienda Courts. They eat breakfast at a strip club all the time. They have their, they have their traditions. So they get to Temecula, California, which is where Selick Motors is. And, of course, because it's that kind of movie, Don has to fall for Selick's daughter, Ivy, who is 29, played by a 32-year-old Jordana Spiro, I think is the actress's name. I've seen her in some things, but don't know where. And yes, that's a love thing. There's a lot of this movie I really like, but much like Waiting, which it's very reminiscent of that, sort of. Much like Waiting, there are parts that don't work. Like, even in the theater. So, I love Craig Robinson. I love when he's in a movie. He's one of the funniest things in the Hot Tub Time Machine movies. And, This Is the End. Take your panties off! He's fantastic. But the character they give him in this film, it doesn't work. Because Craig Robinson usually plays the happy-go-lucky, funny black guy in films. Pineapple Express, he's sort of a hard ass. He's like a hired thug, but here, yes, this came out a year after Pineapple Express, so I guess he plays this DJ, and the running joke with him is that his name is DJ Request, but if you request something, he'll play something entirely different because nobody tells me what the fuck to do. It's not funny. It's annoying. And as much as I love Ed Helms in the Hangover movies, in this film, he's just annoying. He plays a stereotypical jealous boyfriend because he knows he's gonna lose his girlfriend anyway. But he's stereotypically jealous. He's this 30-year-old who still lives with his father, and he's in a boy band, and no. And up to a certain point, the storyline with Ving Rhames' character Jibby, I kind of liked. But when they end it, it's like, well, what the? So his whole thing is that he's never actually made love to a woman. He said he's had like menage a trois and 6 ways and 4 ways and 8 ways and all that kinky stuff, but he's never actually made love to a woman one-on-one, sensual, all the kind of thing. He's never done that. So that leads to him eventually doing it, only for him to go, you know what? This is boring. And then they get all kinky and stuff. I'm like, what? What was the point of that whole story? I mean, I know it's a comedy, but some things have to be taken seriously. I'm just saying, I don't get it. And I'm going to get criticism for this, but I criticize this. We didn't need to have a cameo from Will Ferrell. I understand. It's from the guys behind Talladega Nights and Step Brothers. Pretty sure it just says that. But we didn't need Will Ferrell in this. Look, Will Ferrell is hit and miss for me. There are some movies I like Elf, Step Brothers. Strange Fiction. But then there are some other movies like, say, Anchorman, or Talladega Nights, or even Night of the Roxbury is a little iffy for me. Because I have the movie, but I only got it because it's an SNL movie. It's hit or miss. It's hit or miss. His stuff on SNL was good, but he's dug into a cameo here, and we get a story. So throughout the film, they keep mentioning Albuquerque. It's just like Albuquerque. It's just like Kirky. It's just like Kirky. And so he eventually explains what happens. And this could have been a good kind of backstory for why he's, doesn't stick to anything, why he's so sheltered, why he, goes from one hacienda courts to another. But they had to force comedy into this. The story is that his friend, McDermott, was supposed to jump from an airplane, float down as Abraham Lincoln, and put out some stupid lines like, I was shot in the head with good sales prices, something like that. But he gave him the wrong pack, and thus he died. That could have been enough. But they had to try to shove comedy into this. One, you ruined it by casting Will Ferrell as a friend. I'm sorry, you lost me there. And two, it could have been one thing if he just went, oh, he had the wrong pack. But it's what's in this pack. So, during what's supposed to happen, Dawn is macking on this chick. And she packed a bag of sex toys. Why it's in a bag that looks exactly like the parachute bag, I have no idea. But they have the parachute bag, and McDermott has the sex toys. And it falls flat. Pun intended. It falls flat. It falls flat for me. There's this thing, dildo keeps flying to his face. I'm like, no. And it looks terribly keyed in. It just doesn't work for me. Doesn't work. The only positive I can say is that Will Ferrell dies. I'm like, yeah. There you go. He died, And that's not enough. Is that they have to go the extra route. So, there's a thing where Don and Ivy hook up. And so he thinks now she's going to run with him, but no, because she wants security, she's going to stay with Paxton, even though being in a boy band isn't security, but his family has money too, I guess. So, Don runs off. Why he runs into the middle of a fucking desert and then into a car, the junkyard, I'll never know. But he gets there and he sees the spirit of McDermott, who's now a angel for some reason, with two African American angels who sing for him, which is annoying. And then he's there. I'm just like, no, you didn't need to bring this character back. You know, he could have come to the realization on his own. Like, they had a thing where he walks in there and he sees the trike and it's turned over. That could have been something. And then he does do the jump like McDermott, which you have T.J. Miller, who normally is funny, but I feel like he's misused here. But, yeah, no, Will Ferrell was not needed for this movie. I understand he was in Talladega Nights and Step Brothers, but you didn't need to shove him in this film. They could have done it. Because, what is it? You got this film, and people are like, oh, I don't know about this film. Let's just go check it out. And then you're going to have fans screaming, Will Ferrell's in this movie! Will Ferrell's in this movie! And then, boom! You got people coming in to see it because Will Ferrell's there. And that's why you did it. You don't need him, okay? This movie has a good cast without him. Another thing is there's this storyline. It really doesn't go anywhere. About Don was in Temecula decades ago, and he slept with like a pinup model or something. He didn't use a rubber, and so he thinks that this kid, who kind of acts like him and does the movements, is his kid. That would have been something if it had been true. But they decided to go the route that no, he's not my dad. I've met my dad. He just wasn't around. And they still look like he's going to tell him that it's not true, but then you have the kid go, shh. No, tell him. Don't lead him on. Those are the things I don't like. But there is one thing I do like the attitude of the character. Like, this movie begins with him, wanting to smoke a cigarette on the plane, and they tell him he can't do it, but he talks them into it, and there's a big old party on the plane now. And then this comes full circle at the end where, they say they have to sell all the cars by a certain time or they lose the lot. So they sold all the cars but one, which is the Bandit car from Smokey and the Bandit, and they say you have to sell that one even though it's just supposed to be used as a prop. But no, they have to sell it. So what does Don do? He sells it to Paxton and gets him to buy it. That's fucking awesome, dude. He's able to do that. And then, yes, he gets with Ivy at the end. And then there's this, like, they do the joke with the guy, oh, play We Are a Family. He's like, right away, he's like, playing the stupid song. Just play something good. Okay, and so caught up in you, little girl. Good song. And then there's, like, this things during the credits where they say that, Don and Ivy got married and adopted the guy, which is he's all in his 20s, so it doesn't really make any sense. And then they got divorced a couple of years later, so I don't know. Also, one thing I want to mention is there's another thing. Doesn't really go anywhere that I just forgot. Son of a bitch. I'm out of time to try to remember. Oh yeah, there's a subplot where Babs wants to fuck Rob Riggle, but Rob Riggle is playing a 10-year-old, I guess. It's like Jack. Could she get in trouble with that? I know mentally he's a 10-year-old, but physically he's a 30-year-old. She probably could. Just saying. And I can't remember. And there's a subplot where Henry Selick wants to get with Brent. I don't know. There's some jokes that just miss automatically. I can't think of what it is. If I do, I don't know. This movie is fine. I'm gonna give it a 7. I think it's decent. I laugh. It's what I can do the most. But, yeah, it's fine. Nothing spectacular. I recommend it if you want a good laugh. Jeremy Piven is fantastic in it, and he's the best thing about this movie. But, yeah. So, yeah, so what are your thoughts on The Goods? Live Hard, Sell Hard. Leave them in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.